Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Shine Sis Podcast.
Yes, welcome back, listeners. And we are so excited for today's episode. We are so excited, y'all, because we have our first ever guest on the Shine Sis Podcast, Miss Tremaine Wills. Shout out. We just want to thank you for coming on and supporting us.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Let's wait. You forgot to mention though. This is a fellow classmate and friend. Shout out Ward, class of 2007. Woo woo. Okay.
Can I rep that? Even though I wasn't part of that, can I be part of that?
I mean, you can. Just a little bit.
All right. I left a little early, but
But yes, we have Tremaine Wills here with us, a financial planner and investment advisor. She is the founder and owner of Mind Over Money. So let's go ahead and get into this. Tremaine, tell us about yourself.
Really quick,
how did you find your purpose?
Another great example of Black excellence. So that's why we are excited to have her on this show. This is important. Yes. Black girl magic.
Say that one more time.
Black girl magic.
Black excellence.
Oh, the Black excellence. I got you.
Yes. All right, let's get to this, y'all. So tell us about yourself, Tremaine. Like, what led you here? How did you find your purpose?
So we just jumping in with the loaded questions. Cool.
Just jumping in.
Well, first I want to say thank you guys for having me. I don't take it lightly being invited to your platform. I know that you care very much about your space and what you're trying to promote is uplifting. And so it is, an honor for me to be here. Oh Lord, now my weave trying to eat
have you.
My weave trying to eat the earbud. But I just always like to, extend my gratitude for the opportunity. So thank you so much for having me. But what led me to this space was back in 2014. I was working for I'm not going to mention the company, but I was working for a retail bank that happened to also do investment services. And I was incredibly unfulfilled. The straw that broke the camel's back, there was an older white gentleman that came in, with a suitcase, $250,000 in cash. And I had spoke to him on the phone, and, I built up this relationship, and I was trying to tell him, you don't need to have that kind of cash sitting around, bring it in, let us help you earn more money on it. And so he comes in and he's like, yeah, I'm looking for the little Black girl. And, that really struck a chord with me because it wasn't that he said it. Like, yes, it was he said it, but it was also that nobody corrected him. Right? No, none of my coworkers, did anything to let him know that wasn't okay. Because somebody walks in with $250,000, they're like, oh, let's close this deal. They cared more about that more than they cared about this man addressing me inappropriately. And so that was like the thing that made me realize I need to go back to my community because this ain't it. So I left that employer. And I went back home to Hampton Roads and started my company just teaching and promoting financial literacy. And to be honest, I was scary. I still had all my investment licenses, but I just was afraid. Who's going to listen to this little Black girl, And so it wasn't until 2019, like the end of 2019, I was like, you know what? I'm about to do this. Right? Because who else is going to do it? I'm equipped.
Exactly.
I care. And I stepped out there and I was like, you know what? I'm going to register my company and I'm going to give investment advice and I'm going to be great. And then I got registered in March. And like 3 weeks later, we got hit with a pandemic. So that was terrifying because it's like, oh, you launched an investment company in the middle of a pandemic and your business is going to go under. But by God's grace and me believing in myself, I was able to press through, and now we are thriving, and it'll be a full year in a couple weeks as a registered investment advisor.
Look at God.
Congratulations.
Look at
Listen.
God.
Congratulations.
Listen, and thank you. The growth has been crazy as I've been working with different professionals in this space that have helped me, get the back end part of my company situated, and me just sharing, the numbers of how many clients I've helped in a year. Like they're telling me like, we've never seen this kind of growth. And I'm like, oh, well,
Right.
is what I do.
I know that's right.
Girl. Okay.
And so it's been amazing to be able to help and to teach and to really just, find my stride. But at the same time, it is so scary, right? Because I didn't know anybody that owned their own investment firm. And it's like you really just have to step out on faith and trust that God will keep you, as long as you continue to operate in your zone of genius. And so for me, this has been amazing, scary, but amazing. So
now let me ask you this. Was there a particular moment that you recall where you were finally able to break out of that fear? Like I know you were speaking on how you were kind of worried about how, people would kind of perceive you like almost like who would want to listen to this little black girl, right? Was there a particular moment that you remember that almost changed or change your mindset or your thinking about, you know what, no, I can do this?
It probably was a culmination of lots of different things. So I have incredible parents, and they have always like pretty much told me I can do anything, right? And so I my support system is like A1. And I know I am blessed because I know so many people who just don't have that same support. And so consistently hearing over and over and over again that like you can do this, and also knowing that if I fail, I'm gonna fall back into the arms of my parents, has been, it makes it easy. Because yes, there's this fear that like everything could fall apart tomorrow, right? But I know that I always can go back to my parents, and so that safety net is dope, right? It really makes you feel like you can fly.
Yeah.
And so that really is the biggest thing for me, is like knowing. Oh, and I'm sorry, these AirPods, not AirPods. They not AirPods, okay? These earbuds is not my friends, but listen, AirPods is not in the budget. But it really just gave me that motivation that I really can do anything as long as I persist. And so around that fall winter time in 2019 is really when I got to the peak of I can do this. And if I can't, I'll pick myself up. My parents will be there, and we're going to keep it moving. So, yeah.
Yes. That's awesome. So, was this always your dream?
Heck no. Okay? No. I think I've been like a hustler for a long time. I was doing hair when I was 12, 13, right? So I've always known how to make money. But as far as being like a legit entrepreneur with the legal registrations and all of that stuff, no, that's like, who do that, right? So my dream was, I don't really know what the dream was. It's always just kind of been like, how can I serve? How can I give back? And I guess this is like the blending of being legit and also being able to serve and give back. Because all I do is help. So I just help and to get paid to help. But that's the nature of the work, solving problems for Black women entrepreneurs. So yeah, no, it was the dream was never to be an entrepreneur. And it's crazy that, I'm able to just say it like that because right? Entrepreneurship is crazy. It is a wild place. And so, for so many people to glamorize be an entrepreneur, run your own business. Like, okay, have y'all actually done this before? Because this is not cute. No, that wasn't the dream. So, for me, it really was just finding a lane where I can have my peace and serve how I want to serve and have my time freedom. That's really all I care about. How it got done, that didn't matter to me. So it's cool that it manifested like this.
Okay.
That's awesome, though.
Now, like, I'm not sure if you're how familiar you are with our podcast in terms of our focus, but me and Mary, obviously both military spouses. So the military spouse group is very important to us. And so we're trying to provide them with a lot of information. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with the actual lifestyle also of military spouses, but, there's a lot of moving around and it's kind of hard to, build careers. So there are a lot of spouses who decide to try to start their own businesses and stuff like that. And we were just wondering, do you have any advice for, women who are looking to start their own businesses who may have to deal with the hardship of constantly moving around and trying to start over each time they go to a new spot or, just anything that you can.
Yeah. So, and shout out to the military spouses. Okay. Y'all are a different breed. There's magic in that because constantly having to pick up and go to a new place and keep the home grounded, kudos to you. And so I would say that, yes, one of the biggest things to do is to think about your natural skill set, right? What are some things that you're good at and build a business around that? A lot of things that are attractive as home-based businesses tend to fail for most people because they have no actual desire to learn the craft, right? So there's so many people that start like jewelry businesses with paparazzi, or they might do 31 and selling bags, or they might do, credit repair or insurance and, what's the tummy tea, whatever there's so many different things to do, right? But the true thing that separates people from being able to generate a lot of wealth is how well you know your craft. Because I don't care what you're selling. If you are not teaching me anything, I'm not buying from you. You have to add value. So you only can get better at something when you're willing to learn about it and to provide your potential clients information about it so that they can become more knowledgeable, right? So many of us jump into these hot trends, get rich quick things because, somebody we know is doing it. But beyond your circle of influence, to actually build any wealth, you have to convince people you don't know that they should buy from you. And the only way that you can do that is by adding value. So my advice is, if there's something that you're passionate about, whatever it is, organization, meal prep, fitness, right? Be willing to go the extra mile and log those 10,000 hours to be seen as an expert in that space so that people can trust you. We buy from people we trust. And if I can't tell that you are growing and learning in this space, I'm not going to buy anything from you. And so the best way to do it is to couple it with something you actually want to learn about, right? So whatever your passions are, find a way to align, the business you want to build with things you already are excited about learning more about. Does everything need to become a business? No, right? There are some hobbies that can stay a hobby. But if you hate learning about it, you're not going to be a good salesperson. It's just people that's going to come across. People will know that you're not doing anything to get any better at it. You won't be able to stay abreast of what's happening in the news with it and be able to relate. So if you are trying to, generate some sort of additional streams of income, find something that you're actually interested about and become the expert. So that way you can teach. That's really how we sell, right? It's being able to teach and show that value. So that would be my biggest thing. Whatever it is that you're okay with, staying up 2 o'clock in the morning, scrolling through Pinterest or reading blog posts about, or, listening to podcasts on, then that's probably something that you can potentially monetize in the future. It can't just be, oh, this thing is only $99 a join, right? Because if it were that easy, everybody would be a rich entrepreneur, right? But it's not that easy.
Right.
So that would be my suggestion.
Wow, that is great advice. I'm gonna take that because I don't know what I like. I don't know what I would just sit and just take and put the time to. I am one of those ones that's always like trying to find and start new stuff, but never to the point of being an entrepreneur. So they all just be hobbies for me. But I like that advice. So thank you. So also, in terms, you spoke about military spouse and advice for them, for those wanting to, venture out into that entrepreneur lifestyle. But what steps as, stay-at-home mom would you give, or just to parents in general, what steps as parents can we take to help set our kids up to be financially stable?
Oh, teach them early, right? And don't be afraid to have the conversation, right? I know for me, um, learning about money happened on the job, and it was a tough experience. It made me feel like an imposter because here I am, all these licenses, right? Very, very minimal life experience with handling money. And who am I to tell, these millionaires what to do with their money when I'm up to my neck in student loan debt and I barely have, a 650 credit score. And, so like I didn't have that education on how to leverage my money. Now, one thing my parents did tell me was how to make it, okay? I was never going to be broke. I was never going to be without. And so I can make some money appear, right? But I didn't know how to build it. I didn't know how to generate wealth and put my money to work. And so if there's anything we can do for our children now, it is teaching them how money works, how to, build and maintain a credit profile, how to save, how to become a saver, right? The economy wants us to be consumers. They want us to spend everything. They want to keep us trapped. But we have to encourage our children to press against that and to become the lenders and not be the borrowers. So be the person that has the resources so that when there are times like last year where the market crashes and the wealth gap widens because those who have money invested, right, and those who didn't. And so when you understand how money works and how you can leverage these different vehicles, you can take advantage of when the whole rest of the world seems to be going through turmoil, right? So this is going to be a period of time where money moves between lots of hands, and there's going to be a massive wealth transfer because of people taking advantage of their situation. And when you don't understand how money works, you sit in fear, paralyzed because I don't know how the stock market works. Oh my goodness, what is this? What does this do? And then you get caught up in the GameStop and the AMC, and then you hopping in on Bitcoin when it's already at 50,000, and then you upset when it dropped back to 45, and you like, oh my God, lose that money. Well, yeah, because you just hopped on this when it's a trend and you don't actually understand how it works. So right. We got to teach. And so that would be the thing, is be okay with having uncomfortable conversations with your kids, explaining, why things work the way they work, and being vulnerable and sharing the mistakes you made, right? We learn from experience, and the best way to learn is from other people's experience. I don't got to go through bankruptcy to know that bankruptcy is trash, right? I can learn from somebody else's bankruptcy experience and be like, oh yeah, I don't want to go through that. And so if we share and have these stories, we can teach what not to do without folks having to go through it and experience that pain. A smart person learns from other people's mistakes, period. But they can't learn if we don't tell them the mistakes. So we have to do that work and say, hey, I cashed out my 401k and I went shopping. Don't do that. Right? So we got to be willing to do the teaching.
So now, kind of staying on the track with that in terms of just the family, like I know, and I think that's an excellent idea. I know that's something that me and my husband are trying to get better at, because I think and this is no shade thrown or anything like that. But obviously, you know more, you do more, you do better. What's the saying? I forgot the saying right there. But anyways, you know better, you do better. That's what it is. Y'all couldn't help me with that. Y'all couldn't help me. Anyways, okay, whatever.
We was gonna let you get it.
You know better, you do better, right? So like, obviously my parents, they try to tell me, teach us a certain way of things that they've learned over their time. And then obviously as I've been able to grow myself and learn more, there are certain moments where I'm like, dang, I wish my parents would have taught me this when I was young. So those are the things that we try to push on our kids now. Even though they're only 3 and 7, we still try to, matter of fact, my husband the other day was like, I think my daughter had like $5 and he was like, you want me to take that $5 and turn it into $10 for you? And she was like, no. And he like, no, I want to keep my $5. So he gave her this long speech about, investing and how it works and everything like that. So we're trying, like I said, we're not great. We're not there yet, but we are trying to take those steps so we can at least have, they can start off on a better place than where we started from. So that's the whole point. Each generation to get better. Mm-hmm. But I guess this next question kind of goes a little away from that because, so me and Mary right now are both currently stay-at-home mothers. And so we don't have like a consistent income. It's like, I'm not sure exactly about Mary, but I know with me, it's like, I freelance sometimes.
I'm broke as
and we're saying outside of our husband's income, of course, like just in terms of our own personal income, it's just more so, like for me, it's money here, money there type of situations. Like for somebody in my situation, is there any way to, or any advice you would have when it comes to either saving or investing or trying to set up a retirement, being in this kind of situation?
Mm-hmm. So there are such things as spousal IRAs where the employed spouse can set aside money for the spouse that is not employed. And so a lot of this goes back to full transparency in relationships and having a plan in place for what you want your money to do, right? So one thing I would encourage is for spouses to sit down and create a plan together and to figure out what resources are available, what things do we qualify, and how can we maximize this income, right? Even though you might only be relying on one income stream right now, ultimately you want to increase that, right? You want to have passive income, portfolio income. You want to leverage every talent and resource you have. And so that requires having the conversation, put a plan in place. Because just because you're not working doesn't mean you can't start a vending machine business or, there's so many different things that you can do in addition to, managing the household because let's be honest, that's a full time job. But it all starts with having a plan in place and identifying, what are our goals? Do we qualify for any of these other resources that are available, such as this spousal IRA? And how do we get that started? And so I think that's one thing that, couples can do better is talking about where you're going with your finances so that everybody's on the same page. Even though you're not working, you are saving money for the family by being able to provide the child care and make sure that, things are in order, because if you weren't there, money would be spent covering those things. So, just having that conversation in that direction really will help, steer the ship. And that's what we want. At the end of the day, we want clear directions for where we're going so that everybody's on the same board.
Wow, that's awesome. Sounds like me and mom will be having a sit down when he gets back from deployment. Same. That spousal IRA. You say what now? Okay.
Exactly. Shoot, I need to I'm typing this in my notes over here right now. Okay. All right. Thank you for that knowledge.
Yes. Thank you.
So what are some the common mistakes that first time business owners make? Are there any that you have?
All of them, right? Because that's what we do, right? The biggest one is not saving enough money for taxes. So I think for some reason we just think taxes don't exist. And many people don't save enough. And so one of the things that I do is I teach you how to build in tax savings and help you increase your prices so that, you know, the money's there, right? You even though many people when they're starting, they don't generate a lot of revenue, you want to get into the habit of having your tax savings set aside for when you are making, you know, $100,000 or more in a year, because the taxes on $100,000 don't just come out of anywhere, right? Now, granted, you aren't taxed on all the revenue, right? There's different ways to decrease your expenses, but regardless, you want to be profitable, there's going to be some taxes to pay. And so we don't charge enough. That has been the biggest thing. And I was guilty of this myself, right? If you've ever heard me talk about my journey, I started charging $30 a month. And I just look back like, girl, what? What? Right? And so, that's the honest truth, right? We don't value the service that we provide. We don't value our own time. And so you get what you attract. And if I don't value my own time, of course the people I'm working with aren't going to value it. So we have to do a better job of charging what we're worth. If you provide a service that, you know, reaps $10,000 in value, what you doing charging $30, sis? So that was the biggest hurdle that I had to overcome. And off the rip, when I'm working with clients, I'm 9 out of 10 times going to tell you, you need to raise your prices before I even see what you do, because Black women undercharge.
Yeah.
We undercharge, and it's ingrained in us, like, to try to compete on price, but baby, that is not where the money resides. You don't compete in price. We don't. Black women work harder than their counterparts. And so more often than not, you're already better than average. Yeah. So you need to be charging more than average. So
yes,
save for taxes, raise your prices.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. Look, we value your time. So we appreciate you coming on here and just spreading all these gems to our listeners. So we thank you for that.
Listen, always for friends, okay?
So is there any info that you want to add? Like, do you have any upcoming programs, speaking engagements, future plans that you want our listeners to know about?
So I do cater specifically to Black women who are interested in increasing their income stream. So if you are someone who is just lacking direction, but you know you want help with both your personal and business finances, I'm accepting clients in March. I only take new clients once a quarter, so this is a big deal.
Okay.
In March, I'm accepting new clients. So if you know this is something that you are willing to invest in to get the guidance that you need, I do have discovery calls available, 15-minute sessions where we can talk through to see if we're a good fit for one another. I started this new thing. Don't tell Geico, but what I've been saying is in 15 minutes, you can save yourself 15 years of stress. So
I like that, though. I like that.
Right.
Don't tell Geico. So yeah, that's the goal. I specifically focus on Black women, but I do help minority women as well. I do not work with men. So sorry, fellas, I will refer you out.
Okay, now how can they contact you to check you out, basically, or to link up with you?
Yeah, that's important, right?
Yes.
So the website is www.mindovermoney.net. You'll get a nice, lovely pop-up that encourages you to take action. Or you can visit me at any social media platform, literally all 700 of them, at Tremaine Wills. And in the link in one of the bios, whichever one you go to, there'll be a link for you to book your free discovery call. So I will tell you that even if you aren't sure I'm a good fit, still sign up, because I will share resources with you regardless if it's me or not. Because I believe that it's important to help where we can. And We do that by sharing. There is no way to build alone. Nobody does this on their own. So my goal is to give and to pour out. So come holla at me.
That's awesome. Well, y'all heard that. It's March, so I mean, y'all got the whole month to reach out to Tremaine. Well, y'all, Tremaine, we thank you for coming on today and being our first official guest and dropping all this knowledge for all our listeners. And so before we leave, if you want to join in with us, Tremaine, you're more than welcome to, but we're going to get into this affirmation.
All right. I am enough.
I have the power to create the life I desire.
I am worthy of my dreams.
I am worthy of my dreams.
All of them. And look, Tremaine just hooked us up with learning how we can invest and make money for ourselves. So we're going to go out here and make these dreams happen.
Okay. Yes. So thanks again, Tremaine.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, y'all. And remember, shine, sis. You got this.
You got this, girl.